Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Anne and this is the start of a very impromptu reading vlog. I wasn't planning on vlogging, but this morning I just felt the urge for the first time in months. I haven't vlogged in a very long time, but it is a very cozy autumnal day. I'm wearing my new very autumnal pretty sweater and it is the last week of October and I'm still in the middle of about 5 books. And I know I'm not going to be able to finish all of them, but I want to try to finish at least one, maybe two, or even three, who knows. And I figured that filming a vlog might be kind of a way to hold myself accountable, to actually make sure that I'm sitting down to read, because over the past few weeks, or just this month in general, I've felt a bit too restless to really sit down and read for long periods of time, even though I really want to. And that's mostly because I started my new job yesterday and I was a bit anxious about that beforehand, but it was a lot of fun. I am now working in a bookstore. It's a small town bookstore about 20 minutes away by bus. I had my first day yesterday, like I said, and it was just a lot of fun. I was a bit anxious beforehand because some of you might know that I haven't been working for the past couple of months. I've been at home mostly looking for a new job. So that means that it's been a long time since I actually spent a lot of time around people or outside of my home in general and working an entire day. And I was a bit scared that maybe I wasn't going to be able to just last the entire day basically, but it went fine. The time flew by. My colleagues are really sweet and nice and it was just a great time. So today I'm just still kind of riding that high, I think, and I kind of felt like doing something a little bit more than just resting, even though I'm doing that too, because I have another day of work tomorrow and the day after that. That was a very long-winded way of telling you why I'm filming this vlog, but that's basically it. I'm feeling very autumnal. I'm looking outside at the tree in front of my house right now, which is still kind of green, but it has a lot of yellow leaves as well, and there are lots of leaves outside in the street as well, so maybe I'll take a walk in a little bit. And I'm also having my very autumnal tea. It's called Autumn Storm and it's basically apple and cinnamon and it's delicious. And I'm also going to have some gevuld speculaas, which for the non-Dutchies among you is a typical Dutch winter and autumn snack, which is basically 2 layers of speculaas cookies, so very kind of spiced cookies with lots of cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves and a bit of ginger as well. And it's 2 layers of that and in the middle there's almond paste and it's delicious. If you want to know more about that, I posted the recipe for gevuld speculaas on my blog last week. So I'll leave a link to that down below if you want a very delicious autumnal snack for yourself. And of course this is a reading vlog, so I should probably actually tell you what I'm reading. The first book I'm reading is also my priority for this week to finish, and that is Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World by Benjamin Alire. This is the sequel to Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, which is one of my all-time favorite books. The first book came out in 2012 and this year, just this month, this sequel came out. I think the first book was really meant as a standalone novel, so I was a bit apprehensive about the sequel. I was really excited for it, but I was also kind of afraid that it wouldn't really live up to the first book, and right now I'm about a third of the way through. I'm on page 158 and I'm really enjoying it. It took me some time to get into the story, but that's often the case for me when I read books by Benjamin Alire. I absolutely adore his books. I adore his writing, but for some reason it always takes me longer than with other books to get into the story. It's probably his writing style. He writes in very short chapters, so it's a bit fragmented in that sense. And because of that, it might be difficult to really get into the story quite quickly. At least that's the case with me. This actually picks up only a few hours after the end of the first book, which was something I was really surprised by. I thought it would maybe start a couple of years after the events of the first book, because it's been such a long time since the first book came out. But it just picks up right where it left off, which is also kind of fun because it's kind of like stepping back in time to when I read that book for the first time. For those of you who don't know, Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe was about Aristotle and Dante who meet each other one summer at a swimming pool and they become fast friends, but there's something more going on between the two of them as well, and it's set during the 80s, so that brings with it some different political and social circumstances than we're dealing with right now. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I still have about 300 more pages to go, maybe even a bit more than that. So that's definitely going to be my priority. I am probably going to pick this up after I finish filming this clip. And then the next book I'm reading, which is the first book I started this month actually, is Troy by Stephen Fry. which is the third book in a series of retelling Greek myth. This is obviously about Troy, about the siege of that city because of the kidnapping of Helen. And I've read the story a few times in different ways. I read The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller, which is partly about Troy as well. And I also read The Silence of the Girls by Pat Barker, which is also about the Trojan War. This is a very different way of reading about it because those are novels that really center about a couple of characters, and this is more of a non-fiction like retelling of this history, which is all made up, but it is of course part of our Western history as well. It's really fun to read. Stephen Fry has such a great way of writing about this. It's very fresh, it's very funny at times, but it's also very informative, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm not very far into this yet. I'm only about a fourth of the way through, so I'm definitely not anticipating that I'm going to finish this one this month, but that wasn't really the goal anyway. So that's that. Then what else am I reading? I'm only reading 4 books. I thought it was 5, but it's only 4. Which is still quite a lot for me. The third book I'm reading is one I started a few days ago, which was probably not a good idea considering that I still have quite a few other books to finish, but I was really excited to read this one. It's The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling, and it's a rom-com with witches, and it's almost Halloween, so this seemed like the perfect time to read it. From what I've heard of it, it has practical magic vibes, it has Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls vibes, and there is a romance in it, and from what I've heard, it's just a lot of fun. I've only read the first 2 chapters, so I'm not very far into it at all yet. I've met the 2 main characters, and that's about it. But so far, I'm enjoying it. And this is one of the other books I really want to finish before the end of the month because it is a bit seasonal. It has the Halloween witchy vibes. It's basically about a woman called Vivian who was in a short relationship with a man called Reese. I switched hands because my hand was getting tired. But when that relationship ends, Vivian is really angry with Reese and she decides to hex him. That was 9 years ago, but now Reese has returned to the town and suddenly things start to go awry, and it turns out that this hex is actually pretty serious, and I think they have to work together to find out how to stop these things from going wrong, and that's basically it. It sounds fun. I'm really looking forward to really diving into this and just sitting with it for an entire afternoon or day. And then the last book I'm reading is an audiobook, and it's Tunnel of Bones by V.E. Schwab, which is the second book in the Cassidy Blake series. It's a middle grade series about a girl who had a near-death experience, and because of that she can now see ghosts and pass through the veil into the land of the ghosts, basically. In the first book, she traveled to Edinburgh with her parents because they write non-fiction books basically about ghosts and the history around ghosts, and they have now started their own television show, and for that they're traveling the world. So the first book took place in Edinburgh. I really loved the first book. I ended up giving it 5 stars. And then the second book takes place in Paris. Tunnel of Bones. The first book is called City of Ghosts, by the way. But Tunnel of Bones takes place in Paris, and I am not very far through at all. But they're now in the catacombs under Paris, where a lot of bodies are housed, basically. So that's not a good place to be if you can see ghosts. And I think this one is going to be very fun as well. So that's basically what I'm reading. This evening I'm having dinner with my friend Wesley, and we're going to watch Practical Magic, which of course is very autumnal. I'm really looking forward to that. So that's what I'll be doing tonight, but today I'm just at home reading. I'll keep you updated, and I hope you enjoyed this vlog. few hours later now, and I'm really having the most lovely autumn day. As you saw, I went for a walk and I did some groceries while I was outside as well. And I read some of Aristotle and Dante, but I actually haven't read as much as I would have liked today yet. And also, my phone is leaning on top of Troy because I, for the life of me, can't find my tiny phone tripod anywhere. Like I said, I've read some of Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World. I read about 40 pages, which isn't a lot at all, but I'm feeling more tired today than I thought when I started this vlog. So I'm feeling just a bit sleepy and it's a bit difficult to focus, but I am feeling very calm and happy today. So that's good. I was still thinking about this book a little bit because I am enjoying it, but I can't really predict yet what I will think of it once I've finished it. It's interesting to read about Aristotle and Dante again, and it's interesting how this book takes a bit of a different approach. In the first book, you really focused on Aristotle and Dante, on their little bubble and the things they were going through. There wasn't much outside of that. You got to know their families and a bit about their families' histories and struggles, but nothing outside of that really, even though it is set in the 80s and it is about homosexuality. But this book takes a bit of a different approach because it really talks about the cultural and historical background and context that this book is set in. In the 80s, of course, there was the AIDS crisis, and this book really goes into that. Aristotle really worries about that a lot, about what it means for him to be gay in this world. He really doesn't feel welcome as a gay boy or as a gay man. And he really thinks about that a lot. And I think that's really interesting because this book is set in the 80s, so it's interesting and good to see how things were different then. Like I said, Aristotle really doesn't feel welcome. He's constantly thinking about what would happen to him if people knew that he was gay. He thinks he will be rejected. And of course he has reason to think that because of what he sees on television about how people are reacting to the AIDS crisis and to the gay people going into the streets to protest what is going on. But I really noticed that kind of difference between the first book and the second book, and I thought it was just interesting to talk about for a little bit. I do have the feeling that I'm wondering where this is going. Right now it just seems to be a bit of a collection of reflections from Ari on his situation, on his growing up. It's certainly also a coming of age story, just like Aristotle and Dante part 1 was, because Ari is learning a lot about himself, figuring out who he is and who he wants to be in the world. And I'm enjoying that, but I still have my doubts a little bit as to where this will go and how I will like it. I always love Benjamin Alira-Santos' writing style, like I said earlier, but right now I'm just wanting a little bit more. Even though it is beautiful, the writing is beautiful, Aristotle's descriptions and thoughts are beautiful, I'm just hoping for a bit more from the final 300 pages. And right now I'm just going to put this aside because, like I said, I'm a bit sleepy and I just want to give this my full attention. So I'm just going to move on to the X-Hex for now, which is something I do still also want to finish this week, like I said. I'm going to dive into the X-Hex and see if I fare better with this one today than I do with Aristotle and Dante. It's now almost 6 o'clock and it's already getting dark outside, so I figured I'd just kind of wrap up this vlog because I won't be doing any more reading today. As I said, I'm going over to a friend's house in a little bit. We're going to have dinner and watch Practical Magic. So maybe this isn't the last clip and I'll film some more there, but this is the last clip of me talking. I did do quite some reading after I last talked to you. I read about 50 pages in the X-Hex. I'm loving both the characters, both Vivian and Reese, but Vivian is definitely my favorite. I prefer her perspective to Reese's. I love her as a character, but I also love her cousin Gwyn and her aunt Elaine, who are both quite prominent characters in the story so far, especially Gwyn, and her cat stir Percival. And Reese is a bit more of a loner, and his relationships so far from what we've seen are a bit more negative with his family, with his father and his brothers. But he is an interesting character and I am looking forward to getting to know him a little bit better. I really like the writing style. It's a very easy read, but it is beautifully written, I think. It's very witty and funny, and descriptive in the right places. So far so good. Maybe I'll do a little bit more reading tonight after I get home, but knowing me, I'll probably end up watching YouTube or The Office or New Girl or Virgin River, any of those things. I am now going to get ready to head out, and that was basically it for this vlog. Nothing special happened. I didn't even finish a book, but I really enjoyed filming this vlog because, like I said, it's been a really long time and it was just fun to focus on this today and kind of have fun with it. So thank you for watching. In a comment down below, please let me know what is a book that you've really enjoyed lately. I'm really hoping to finish the X-Hex one of these days and also Aristotle and Dante, Dive into the Waters of the World. I keep forgetting the entire title because it's long, but I'm really enjoying both of those books, so hopefully I'll be able to finish them before the start of November on Monday. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and you want to see more of me in the future, and have a wonderful day. Bye!